Has anyone ever read a book where the further you get away from completing it, the more you like it? So I'm going to give like a review-ish of Use of Weapons by Iain M. Banks, because that book did that to me. When I finished the book, I really, really liked it. So to get it out of the way early, Use of Weapons is the third book in the Culture series by Iain M. Banks, and the Culture is this 10-book science fiction series. Some people call it a space opera, but I'm not seeing space opera elements in it. I think they just say that, I don't know, because opera sounds epic and this is epic. It's a very good science fiction series, and it follows people in and outside of the Culture, which is a intergalactic society that is controlled by a group of artificial intelligences that keep like 1 trillion people as pets. I mean, there's no other way to sum it up. Like, the deeper you get into learning about the Culture, the more you're like, wow, this utopia is really messed up. I'm going to set that aside because when I finish the series, maybe we'll talk about that together. But I read Use of Weapons because someone that watches my videos, who I've been talking to a lot lately, wanted to know if I wanted to buddy read it with them. And I'm not going to name them because I don't know if they want me to, but thanks for being the catalyst to get me back into reading the Culture, because it's been like 5 years. So I got back into it. Use of Weapons is really weird. Like, the more I think about it, the more I like the book. But at the time, I wasn't really feeling it for most of the book. It was still good, like at the micro level. Like if we're going sentence by sentence or paragraph by paragraph, everything I've read by Iain M. Banks so far has been like that. He really, really knows how to write. But when you look at like the macro level, like the overall execution, I wasn't the biggest fan. I think it might be something with me. I'm not the biggest fan of flashback heavy stuff. And the way this worked is you have two stories. You have Zakawi, the like main-ish character of the book. You have his story in the present, and then you have flashbacks that show his origin story. And he is like a mercenary for the Culture. The Culture uses him to fight wars, to work as like solo. Like if you want to win a fight that involves weapons, he is the one you get. He does not lose. So that's interesting. They pick him up to run a mission where he has to go to a planet and do stuff. I'm not going to go any further. I don't want to spoil it. And that doesn't even start until like 35% of the way through, something like that, is when like the mission he's doing in the present starts. So before that, it's kind of meandering through Culture stuff, which is fine. I like that. But the flashbacks are what I had a bigger problem with. What it does is it starts around the end of the book. Like it's a flashback to something that happens toward the end of the book. And then it works its way backwards. Like I'm doing the crossed arm thing because like the timeline's confusing. But yeah, you start with something close to the present, and then each chapter of flashbacks is working its way to Zakawi's origin. And then you get to the end and there's like a big thing, and you get a big reveal from the flashbacks and you get a big reveal from the present. And so it works, but I just don't really like the way it was executed. But the more I get away from finishing the book, the more I think about it being good. But at the time, I was like, I don't like this. Like the flashbacks, I wasn't into them or really able to follow them narratively until like 60% of the way through. And like the present story was just great from like start to finish. Following him through this world that he was on was just really cool. But overall, the book has moved up in my ranking of the 3 Culture books I've read. I think it's better than Consider Phlebas, but I don't think it's as good as Player of Games. I have a bias toward Player of Games because I'm a board game tryhard, and that book is about a board game tryhard. So, I don't know, take that as you will. But I think Player of Games also had like a stronger structure to the narrative. And with Use of Weapons, it's just flopping back and forth, and the timeline gets confusing. And sometimes I'm like, wait, is this the present? No, this isn't the present. He's not there right now. And I'm like, wait, is this the present? Oh, wait, yes, this is the present. But like, what happened? And so stuff like that just made the book confusing. But as I said, the more I think about it, the more I like it. It is living rent-free in my head. But I think a lot of that has more to do with thinking about the Culture itself than it does thinking about the book itself. The Culture series is just on another level. The concepts, and it's just mind-blowing, man. Like, I think about what the culture did in this book to accomplish a goal. And I'm like, that is not okay. And same with a player of games or Consider Phlebas. Like, Consider Phlebas is not as well written as the other two, but I think that it is a good place to start. I was talking with the person I read the books with, and we both agreed that starting the series with someone outside the culture that hates them is a better way of setting up the overall world, because I don't think that the culture are the good guys. And the more I think about the culture, the more I'm just like, what is this really happening in here? Like, this is messed up. I just wanted to talk about the book and about whether or not a book gets better the further you are away from finishing it. If you have books like that, let me know in the comments. This is not going to be my last review of a culture novel. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get to another one, because there's only 10 of them. And when they're gone, they're gone. I have other science fiction reviews, mostly vintage science fiction. You can check those out too. I will be reading a lot of newer science fiction as well on this channel. So if you see reviews like that, I hope you check them out. Leave a comment if you have read Use of Weapons and tell me what you think about it. I want to thank you for watching. And with that, I'll see you next time.